Because that's why I drink.
All
right. So we got popcorn and beer, Penguin beer. That is not Crosby. I don't even know if we have an 85.
Well, if for those who are out of the area or catching our show for the first time, we are based in Pittsburgh,
Pennsylvania. That's
right. We are kind of like... Tonight we're going to be homers.
Hometowns, or Yinzers. We're going to be Yinzers. We're going to talk like Pittsburgh. We're going to do everything like Pittsburgh. Fuck them Ravens.
So, I initially was going to have you do episode 5 when you came back from tour, but then the tour's a little longer than I initially thought it was.
It's 2 months.
Yeah, so
Gone for 2 months.
Thanks for coming in.
You got it. I didn't mean to scare you coming in.
Kind of scared me a little bit.
I'm walking down the hall, and his eyes get real big, and that's all I can see down this dark hallway. And just because he thinks, I don't know, what do you think of a monster? Or what?
Look like one.
Somebody told me the other day I look absolutely terrifying walking down the street. And they go,
wait, someone said to you, you look terrifying?
Yeah. You know what? Here's what's fucked up. I mean, I said I wasn't going to swear. Here's what's fucked up about this. They sit around and they feel comfortable enough to tell you, hey, man, you look terrifying. It's just like, wow, great.
You look like shit.
It's like my favorite thing. Like I had a buddy,
creepy guy number 1.
Yeah, a creepy guy, a seedy guy.
seedy guy number 1.
You know, I had a buddy of mine say, "Hey man, how are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm okay." He goes, "You don't look okay." I'm like, "Where do you know from that?" Yeah, you don't look okay. I mean, so because I was growing the beard, and it's just like you know, and it's getting scruffy. It's getting fluffy.
It's pretty long, Fred.
It is. Oh, well, I'm lazy. Well, the thing was, is I started, I go into these.
So you're not lazy. You're really not lazy.
Well, that's what I was just going to say.
I mean, some of the personal effects, you may be lazy.
Well, that's where I was getting to. Personal hygiene. Personal hygiene.
That wouldn't be anything to brag about.
But, no, I mean, I shower every day. I'm nuts. I have to shower every day. I cannot go without taking a shower. When you've got hair this gorgeous, only one shampoo will do.
Do you use Pro?
No, Dove. Actually, I quit using Dove. We're jumping around all over the place.
Man, of course.
I'm a Dove man. You know what happens? When you ask Dove 1,000 fucking times, "Hey man, Dove, how about a little love? How about a free bottle or two? You know, throw me a bottle."
You wearing them out on social media?
Oh yeah, everything used to be tagged Dove. So I'm walking through the supermarket, and I'm like, "Oh, Dove, you know, I need to get some Dove. I love Dove." And I went like this. And you ever see that like? Well, here we go. Did you ever see that girl from like 25 years ago? And it's like you like run into her. It's like, "Hey, man, I'd like to try that again." and
try what exactly, Fred?
Oh yeah, but that's exactly what. You know, it's like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, start a little conversation, and you're like, "Wow, man, I remember why I like this." Well, right there, I'm walking through the aisle, and I'm like, "Hey, Pantene. It's been a long time. How you doing? Oh, you still make the, oh, wow, that, I remember that. Yeah, I remember when we first tried that, yeah. Yeah, hey, so what, you know, yeah, I've been good, yeah. You know, me and Dove were on the rocks. You know?
Your life is you are talking to shampoo bottles in a supermarket.
I'm fucking nuts. I've been working 96 hours a week, man. You know, so I'm like walking through like the giant eagle in the middle of the night. I'm like walking and I look and I'm like, so yeah, hey, you know, what are you doing tonight? And, you know, and Pantene's like, hey, nothing. You mind if I bring a friend? It's like one of the 2 box things, you know. And it's you could buy 1 bottle of Dove for $7, or you could buy Pantene or shampoo and conditioner, the way I like it, for the same amount of price, for the same amount of money. And I'm like, you know what? And I looked at Dove sitting over there. I'm like, you know what? I gave you every fucking chance in the world, Dove, to send me free shit. I begged you on social media, send me free shit. You know what? Pantene, let's go. So I fucking threw it in the buggy and we took off. I actually have, and I didn't.
Are you wearing them out now?
I have. You know what? I haven't. You know why? Because I respect Pantene.
He is a man. I'm just putting it out there.
But the thing is, when all the old pictures of my hair when it was like long was Pantene, and then one day, you know, Pantene and I got into a fight, and you know, you're like, you know what, Pantene, fuck you. I'm going to Dove's house. And so I went and tried some Dove because they didn't. Truth is, they were out of Pantene, the kind I used, but they had the equivalent in Dove. And I'm like, wow, Dove smells just like Pantene. And so that's where I went to Dove. So I became a Dove because it was gentler on my hair.
You will get no sympathy from a man who's not used shampoo in 15 years.
Oh, man. But that's a true story. I was walking through the supermarket the other day, and I saw Pantene, and I'm like, you know what? Pantene, I used to use you all the time back in the day. And I saw some recent pictures of me from back in the day, and I'm like, damn, I look good. So I went and I'm back with Pantene. I'm going to make it official. Pantene and I are back together, and we're happy.
I'm going to jog Fred's memory for a second because this is self-effacing humor, but I'll say it. We recorded our very first Boogie Street promotional video. I don't know where that idea came from, but we decided we're going to do a promotional video.
I do remember that.
2004. I think it was November 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never given my hair a second thought. It had always been there. It always looked good. I needed a comb every day, which means I still had some. It wasn't thin. It looked good. I never had any trouble, dating or anything. It was, I just assumed everything was great. So we were doing this video shoot, and the company we had, Nice Young Men, they had the cameras on there, and we were reviewing tapes, and they were showing us stills, and one of these young men had the idea of a wide-angle shot that was actually going to be shot behind my desk in view of the whole office. So we're sitting down at the desk, and Fred and I are reviewing all the clips and tapes, and Fred calls me over to the desk and goes, "Hey, E." I'm like, "What's up?" He goes, "You may want them to put a little shading or some Photoshop on that crown of yours." And I looked there, and I had never looked at the back of my head.
Because you don't have eyes in the back of your head.
And there was this balding crown on the top of my head.
I
and
get worried.
So much of my life just... Shut up, Fred. So much of my life fell before me, and I was just fucking horrified. And you thought that was just so remarkably funny.
No,
you wrote that for a good couple months.
Well, yeah. But
it was a realization. I think I was at the time 37, 38, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. It might get really... And I was married at the time to a hairstylist. Just
That's
like go
irony.
home, I'm like, hey, you've been coloring the gray out of my hair and cutting my hair for a good 5-6 years now. For at least 5-6 years. Do you think it might have been, just maybe, something to tell me that, like, I'm going, like, with a bad bald spot up there? Well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Hurt my feelings? I got to find out from a video camera crew. It was so humiliating and so humbling. But again,
I'm thinking that she was thinking, I'm going to keep him from dating. And
he's like an old man.
Slowly but surely, she pulled him out.
She might have been.
Yep.
Who knows? But man, that was just one of those landmark moments in a man's life when you realize that you're losing your. You'll have yours. Trust me.
Oh, it's starting to go right here, and I think it's because I pull it in the ponytail all the time. It's just like right.
Yeah, but you've done very well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 50.
He's older than 50.
This is real hair.
Not like these plastic. These plastic-filled celebrities you see on the air, with their wigs. Most of the people in music now have wigs, right?
Yeah.
Or they had those sewn in.
Yeah, they got all kinds of different things they can do. They got all kinds of stuff. You can color them. But it's easy if you're going to color your hair and you want to keep it permanent. I probably would look great.
Do you color or are you gray?
I'm gray in my beard. I have gray beard hairs. You
wouldn't tell us anyways if you colored.
Oh no, my hair's natural. I have no grays in my hair. All right, here. Chest hair. What the fuck is that? I look like a koala. I'm like a little fuzzy koala bear. I'm like, when the hell did this happen? So but the beard gets long grays in them. And I'll sit there and I'm so vain. I admit it. I am.
Don't say.
And I'll sit there and I'll find one. And I'll just pluck it out. I'll pluck it out. And I'll pluck it out. And I'll go through. So like a couple times a week, I'll just go through and just start picking them. But then they make this stuff called Just for Men.
Never heard of it.
Somebody told me about it. And what's
it's shoe polish.
it's what it is. And you know what's fucked up is you see these like. it's all nice and fuzzy. You know, and I like to let it, because the last time I had it fuzzy like this was when I was doing that movie, The Road. And I grew a beard for that. And I'd actually just come off the road, and I had a great big beard. I shaved it off, and 20 minutes later, my agent calls me up and says, "Hey, do you have a beard?" And I'm like, "By any chance, do you have any facial hair?" I'm like, "I just shaved it off 20 minutes ago. What do you need?" And I had this nice beard, like, growing, you know. So anyway, so I like it when it's like, because I shampoo it with Pantene. And I condition it with Pantene. But, you know, and I sit there and I because I like it, like you said, shoe polish. You see those guys with like the short little, like, it looks like somebody, like a Halloween hobo. Like when your mom couldn't afford an outfit and she just got like some shit and she just put it on you. And then you could be anything. You could be a pirate.
Kiwi
she throws like a
shoe
rag on.
polish.
Yeah, you know. But, you know, you've got those guys and it's like all perfect. You know, like all manscaped and shit. Fuck that, fag. You know? We're going to cut that. Like, I'm not. So let's go back in it. Oh, and I haven't even been drinking yet because this is really water. No, it's not. It's beer. But I'm not drunk yet.
It's definitely beer.
Oh, it's Icy Light, too. It's good beer.
It could be water for all I know, too.
No, but in all honesty, you know, you get those people with the like the shoe polish, like you said, it's a tight line, and it's all manscaped, and what do they call them? Metrosexuals. I can say that.
Well, it always fascinates me when you see a guy 55 or 60 and older, you know, and then there's the natural skin weathered face that's what life brings you.
Yeah.
And then you see black, jet black beard
Yeah.
and hair with no color texture, no shading. Black.
There's grace in this.
Black. And they leave the house and they think that's okay.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like I said,
That's crazy.
you're a hobo for Halloween this year, Junior. I was like, I don't want to be a hobo. Give me the shoe polish. And you got the little thing.
It goes back to that same thing I always said. You know, I never for the life of me understood why more people do not put a mirror, hopefully a 3/4 or full-length mirror, right by the door. And do you not take that one glance before you leave the house?
I don't. Here's what's messed up about me is I take a shower. Like I took a shower before I came down here. Again,
Personal hygiene tips from Fred
Second
Kowalo.
one, personal hygiene panda says, you know,
Personal hygiene panda.
don't forget to scrub your ass, you know, shit like I don't know. Well, again, and that's what's messed up. I'll be out and I'll be like, oh man, I forgot to wash my armpits, and I'll go back in and get back in the shower, man, because
How do you forget to wash your armpits?
Because I'm sitting there thinking of other things, like, you know, what am I going to do today, you know, stuff like that. But I don't know if you know this, Eric, but I'm a busy man. But the thing is, you know, I shower and shower and shower. I walk out the house, I don't even know what I look like. My mirror is my rear view mirror in my car. I'm like, see here, do I look good? Yeah. Ooh, another gray. Let me pop that out of there. You know, but the thing is I'm lucky enough with the hair, because I don't know if you guys know this, but this is my long, luxurious hair by Pantene. But hear that, Pantene? And I'm drinking Iron City beer.
He's bucking for a sponsorship.
And Great Northern Popcorn Popper. If you ever need popcorn, go to Great Northern.
Ironically, though, you actually have had some sponsorships in the music business through the course of your career.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Fred will probably not remember this, but I remember you actually had bigger advertisements as the guitar technician for some of these musicians than the musicians had themselves.
If anybody wants to buy a case of posters,
for multiple companies, I believe, right?
I had posters, and I was like, "Oh yeah, hey." They're like, "Hey, would you like a poster of this?" Yeah, because I was like, "Well, it was awesome," because I had no idea, and it was for Korg, Korg tuners,
right? Yeah.
And I'd been using Korg.
There's another one you had too, strings or something.
I'd been using Korg though forever, and even like when I wasn't, you know, when I was playing in a local band, I had a Korg tuner, and
you sounded at their booth a couple times years ago.
Yeah. And I did Monster Music and stuff like that. You know,
I remember that. I think that's one of the very
precursor
first
to
times.
us. Yeah, when we met.
Yeah.
And so I would do like in stores. I do like setups, you know, and they bring people in, and You know, I'd sit around.
And there's beer.
And lucky winner Jimmy gets his guitar set up by Fred, you know, and it's just like,
right.
I'm like, going, what am I going to do with this thing? You know,
Well, I always respected you because there was big opportunities for you to make a lot of money in regards to charging for professional setups. And, you know, there was always that extra money that was available to you, but you just never took advantage of people. And that's what I loved about, you know, to my knowledge, you never did.
Judge, you would have bad businessman I am. But no, yeah, exactly. And one of the things that I used to pride myself on, and I still say it now, I give you the same setup as I'm going to give Zach Wild. I'm going to give you the same setup as I'm going to give Kiko or Chris Broderick or Dave, you know, Mustaine or David Ellefson. I do the same quality work,
John, my own,
for you guys as I will for, you know, a rock star. And that's what I did when I was down here, man. You know, well, yeah, I was picky, and everything had to go through my hands.
Picky, all right.
Before it went out the door, you know, I sat there and I touched all the guitars we had in Boogie Street. Excuse me. I'm drinking beer and I just hiccuped or burped. I don't know what it was.
Every guest does that. And then they're all like, oops. I'm like, hey, it's a podcast thing.
It's you know, you got to figure out. That's the drinking game. At what point in the show, I'm going to say 10 minutes and 31 seconds, he's going to hiccup. Yeah. But you know, I mean, that was just me, and I loved Korg tuners, and I was going to a guitar store up here in McMurray. I was at the Guitar Gallery, and I didn't know that I was on the cover. I was on the back cover of Guitar World magazine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, no. I go walking in, and they're like, hey, man, you got something to tell us? I'm like, I'll bring that money up like next week, Vic. You know,
that payment on the guitar on layaway. And that's why he ended up working with me, because he didn't have to worry about that anymore.
And I'm like, I'll probably bring the money right up. He goes, what? No, don't worry about that, man. Hey, you got something to tell us? Something else? I'm like, I'm home. And they're like, and? I'm like, you know. And then they showed me on the back of the October issue of Guitar World, Motley Crue was on the front. My favorite band growing up when I was a kid.
That issue.
Motley Crue's on the front. And Zach Wild and my name are on the back. And it says, if your boss is a guitar hero, you may already be using Korg
That's a great ad.
tuners. And I loved it.
That was a great ad.
And what was great is, I'm like, I called them up and I'm like, thank you so much, because I was sincerely. They're like, oh, cool. Do you want a couple magazines with it on there? You know, I'm like, yeah, if you can send me. Like 2 days later, I get like 2 giant boxes of magazines with like the ad on there. I'm like, yeah, I'll never be able to do it.
I got one for my mom, one for my Aunt Betty.
Exactly. I still have the magazines in boxes. I think I've only gone through. I gave away on that Monster Music signing. That's what I was signing. Yeah. And so you know what they said? We heard you were signing some magazines.
Well, it's good for them.
Well, of course. They said, you're signing some magazines. I'm like, yeah, man. And they go, did you go through it? I'm like, yeah, I went through about a box. Yeah, 3 boxes show up and you know, like 2 days later, it's like 3 boxes of, and these boxes are heavy.
And the posters were cool too.
Well, that was it, and it became. It's like cool. I said, hey, would you like a poster? You know, make. Would you mind if we made a poster? I'm like, yeah, it's your company, man. You can do whatever you want. So they made a poster. I've got stacks of posters in my house, in my storage unit. This
is a good story. We should get this on for perpetuity. You know, I knew of Fred, and I think Fred and I were in the same shows, and we probably crossed paths multiple times going back into the 90s.
I kept going, look at that ball again.
Now, watch it. But as I grew Boogie Street, just basically, I was a huckster. I was buying and selling online and reselling and all that, but I had that idea to design guitars and all that. And there was a guy that had a store here in Pittsburgh named Custom Shop Guitars. Sean.
Yeah.
Who Sean and I hit it off pretty well. I mean, Sean was a different kind of guy. Sean, if you're out there, I hope you're still around. I hope you're doing well. But Sean was a different kind of guy. And Sean had a couple friends in there. Bill, hope you're doing well too. Bill's been a long time.
Bill was my neighbor.
Bill they were some what you would call some rowdy mother effers. Yeah. So they had this habit. Now Sean was working with Washburn Guitars at the time. And he had a very unique relationship with them that kind of he fell into, which I was a little envious of. I tell you. And he was being very specific on what kind of guitars he wanted Washburn to build him. And he had an idea to do a run of guitars. So he did that. And they came in, and I was very skeptical of Washburn at the time. They weren't my number one. I was a kind of a Gibson guy, Paul Reed Smith, and I guess that's where my money was being made when I was buying in the used market. Well, I grabbed these guitars off the wall, and Sean was showing them to me, and the workmanship was unbelievable. The finishes were like glass, and I'm like, how'd you step, And Sean was a laid-back kind of guy. He loved being in business because he liked to make money, but he also liked to spend money indiscriminately. And generally, him, Bill, and that crew down there loved to go to the strip club. Don't know what strip club it was, but they loved to go. And he called me a couple of days later and go, hey, E, yeah, man, you interested in buying any of this stuff on the wall, man? I'll give you a good deal. And he started selling me pieces at ridiculously low prices because he was going out and spending as much money as he was making, at the strip clubs. So basically, Boogie Street started because a guy really dug the strip clubs, spent a boatload of money there and needed to recoup it, and I just made good business decisions in that regard because it was an opportunity, right? And then Sean ultimately closed down. I think he moved to Florida and opened and did another guitar business, which I heard was pretty darn successful. I lost touch with Bill, and I loved Bill.
Bill was my neighbor.
I loved Bill, yeah.
I've seen him for a while.
Great guy. And heck of a guitar player, too. He was actually a guitar instructor there.
He was a teacher there.
But Custom Shop Guitars gave Boogie Street the opportunity to really go into the Washburn arrangement and just from there it exploded. But I remember when Custom Shop Guitars moved to a different location and they had this really interesting store. It was all chrome and glass. And
that's where I did the in-stores at.
And that's when I came down and really and Fred was signing all this stuff. And I believe when it was all done, I kind of pulled you aside and said, hey, man, I said, I'm going to try to get this deal with Washburn. And, I said, and I don't know if you really were believing what I was telling you, but I said, look, when it happens, you got to come around, man. You got to, be involved with this. You're like, yeah, whatever. And you totally forgot about it. And I made it happen. So months later, do you remember the first time you walked in?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so this is good to get on tape. So Washburn agreed to my plan. I rented these office spaces. We started commissioning these amazing guitars. And I got a couple of them in. And at the time, I also was commissioning guitars with BC Rich, which was a company that was really in flux. They had a legendary company that then had been bought from the original owners and then moved to Cincinnati. And I had gone down there and tried to get them to give me stuff. And it was very odd because they were sending me guitars that were unfinished almost. There was like frets that weren't finished. And so I must have ran into Fred at some point. Or I called him and said, hey, Fred, Eric McKenna, can you come over to my new location? Because I need this bass set up because I sold it. And I didn't know how to set up a bass, right? So Fred said, sure, I'll be over tomorrow at 1 on my way to work. So I'm in there, and I had my 2 kids with me. I'll never forget this. And I had somebody else in there. Somebody maybe from the office building wandered in. Because it was a private office. Fred walked in the back door, never looked at me, walked over, looked around the office, and identified the bass, which was nuts, this blue bass, picks up the bass, looks at it, never acknowledged that I was even there, walked right in, went over to a guitar amplifier, plugs it in, puts his leg up on the cabinet and starts jamming on his bass at a high volume. And we were sharing this space with a radio station, with offices above us, like a mortgage company above us. And I'm like almost like, all right, number one, what the fuck you doing? Number 2, you do realize that there's offices here. And number 3, how do you know that's the bass I'm referring to? Turns out he was right. He laughed, and then he fixed his bass, and I went to pay him. He goes, we're good. And he leaves. He literally just scoots out. And I'm like, that's something. So I run out and I grab him for the car. I said, hey, Fred, I got more in here, man. If I give you this extra key, I trust you. Would you come in and set up these guitars for me? He goes, yeah, okay, man, I'll do it. Now, he didn't tell me when or how it's going to be done. So I go away for a weekend, and I come back, and the road box was here. there was iced teas over here, a couple cases of beer over here, and a mini fridge in the middle of my office space. And I'm like, okay, he just fucking moved in.
I never left.
And the rest is history. Is that pretty much how you remember it?
I just, they were all done too. I fixed them all.
But it was so cryptic. You just kind of, I mean, you know, and the funny part is you're a great communicator, so you had to have been fucking with me because you're a great communicator,
Well, yeah.
but you were so, like, so cryptic. And I was so unsettled by it completely. But yeah, it was a start of an amazing friendship and an amazing business relationship.
Cheers.
Salute.
And look, I'm still here. And the roadbox is still here.
Well, and you come in here. I know it means a lot to you because you had an input on most of the designs in here, and all of these you had your hands on at one point in time too. Yep. So it's yeah.
Don't look around. I did them all.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it's funny because we struggled at times at Washburn getting them to see our way once in a while, especially with hardware and tremolos and all the things that Fred would just like, you know, the wrong screws are in here.
Wrong screws are in.
And there we had a Floyd Rose problem or something.
Yeah.
And what was that all about? Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, they were putting
here, I'll take some of those.
They were putting aluminum screws in
and they were too soft or something.
Yeah. So you tighten it a couple times, and then the next thing you know, you can't use it anymore.
But for the most part, Washburn was amazing. You got him, and you were skeptical too because you did not have a great opinion of them before we started working for them.
I was a Gibson guy, and BC Rich guy too.
Mm-hmm. Although those BC Riches were pretty poor, I didn't continue the relationship because they were so poor. Yeah. You know, because you're like, dude, the frets aren't even finished. The fret ends will cut your fingers on this bass. Did you remember that? Literally cut your fingers playing this thing.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, and I wanted to get that out because that's I get asked that question a lot. Like, how did you two guys get together? How did it all start? And we didn't know. In all honesty, when we got that Washburn deal, did you really think it was going to go like that?
No, but I was happy, dude. I was just like,
it was, and you would go away for periods of time on tour, and I would talk to Fred once, twice a week, and I'd say, look, and we didn't have video cameras or video FaceTime and all that stuff, but I would say, Fred, I got like 150 guitars here, man. And then the next year was like, dude, I got like 450 guitars. And you were like, what? I got 450 guitars in. Because we were ordering runs.
Yep.
And
we were making our own runs.
Yeah.
Custom runs.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Good era. And we hit it right. The guitar was still relevant with kids at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on now. Are kids playing guitar anymore?
Yeah. And you know what's funny is they're starting.
But are they buying guitars?
We'd make another killing, I think, if we could come in with with our shapes and stuff like that. I think we could.
I'm a little old.
But the thing is, kids are shredding again, and like like the Parker over there, and they're learning how to play. I went and saw some bands the other day, and there was this band, and they were a local Pittsburgh band, and there's a street near my house. So it's this old dirt road where, like, you had this guy Hatchet Jack that cut up his family when he.
I'm guessing there's no streetlights.
There's no streetlights out in the country. It's like this old dilapidated farmhouse, and you used to go up there to try to catch a glimpse of Hatchet Jack because they let him out of the mental institution.
Hatchet Jack.
Yeah, we were kids, you know what I mean? And so supposedly this guy Hatchet Jack, and you go up on this old farm, you try to sneak up there, and it's on Hahn Drive, and you go up there and it's like, and you saw somebody like one time, and you didn't even stick around. You were a kid, you're just getting your car. You're like 16 years old, and you're running down over the hill.
It's awesome. That's awesome though.
But I went and saw this band, and their name was Hahn Drive, and I'm like, oh my god, they have to live by me.
The name was what?
The name of the band was Hahn Drive.
Hahn
and that's where this Hatchet Jack lived. And so I'm like, oh my god, they have to.
Maybe he was in the band.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's my uncle. My Uncle Jack. But so I went and talked to him. I said, hey, you guys from right? But I'll tell you what, these kids gave me goosebumps playing, and it was like so cool to see young kids. They're probably in their 20s, early 20s, my daughter's age. So they're about 20, 21, 22, 23. But they could actually play. And they were singing, they were playing, they had harmonies, they had character. But it actually made me feel good to see young people playing and playing well. They played all originals, which were killer originals, and they played one cover. And I was outside talking to somebody, and I just went, yeah, I got to go. And because they played Ace of Spades, like I'd never heard it played before, and I'm like, this is incredible. And they were kids, and they had fun doing it. And so they're an up and coming Pittsburgh band. They were fans. And it turns out I met the drummer, years and years and years ago. When he said he was a guitar player in this other band. I talked to him like years ago. It was like really cool, man. I mean, hey, cool, Cody. You know, it's good to meet you. You know, good to see you again. But these guys were, in that respect, they were multi-instrumentalists. This guy was a shredding guitar player. Now he's a shredding drummer. So you know,
so the musicianship
is starting to come back.
And when Tony McAlpine was here, and Emil Wursler was here, and Josiah, one of the things they exposed me to, at least their theory or their observations, was that there's a lot of progressive style bands where there's absolutely no care or no attention paid to their image. It literally is about, we're going up there and we're going to shred and play some really intricate and powerful and really impressive music.
Yep.
And that's all they care about. They literally, the whole rock star thing, with most of them now, is lost. It's just not that. The stick of being a rock star isn't what motivates them. It's really about putting amazing music out there.
Exactly.
And that's an adjustment for me as a music appreciator, but I like it. I like that.
Yeah. Well, that's what all these bands were. They were all bands. They were progressive. Some were older, some were younger. But it was like 4 different bands, but I'd call them progressive. But the headliner was a local Pittsburgh band as well. And they were very, very cool. Everybody had like a different style, but they could all play. And they were like older guys, middle, 30-somethings, 20-somethings. And it was really, really cool. But that's just it. They went up, and nobody cared about looking like a rock star. You go up and you play. And that's what you get thrown on,
But you've been out with Dream Theater, so we didn't really get into this because with Fred's podcast we cover everything, and we'll cover some different topics tonight. But generally, we really concentrate on stories because they're funny. As you've encountered the most bizarre things imaginable. But since we're on the music topic tonight for a little while, you went out with Dream Theater, and that band would be kind of like a left turn for you compared to all of the other bands you've done. And you're not that you've always said you weren't the biggest progressive fan. Rush was never a thing for you. Yes was never a thing for you. So, and I kind of get it to some degree, but obviously Dream Theater somehow married the mainstream progressive music while maintaining still an element of image, because they've all got their own personas, but that's not the number one thing. Like John Petrucci, Mangini, Mayung, those guys, they're cool, and they dress cool, and they move around on stage. I get all of that, but their image as rock stars or metal stars is completely secondary to their music.
They're musicians first.
So talk a little bit about how that was different for you from your. No, Zach was a musician too, but let's face it, there was an image there.
Yeah, there had to be. I mean, he was a rock star when he was a kid.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what kind of adjustment did you see a difference in the fans? Did you see a difference in the way the band conducted themselves?
I saw a big difference in the fans.
Okay.
All men. All musicians.
Welcome to Rush too.
Yeah, so they were all musicians. These guys were great. And I'll tell you what, they were down to earth. And all
Did that surprise you at all? Like, because you know what you were going into, right?
I knew what I was getting into. I didn't expect anything bad, but I knew that they played. And I did John. I love that guy. I learned so much from just watching him run an exercise. This guy ran exercises, and I'm like, I've got to try that. And my hand got And it's, you know, your dexterity and your speed. It's a whole different ball game now.
I bet.
And the thing was, is I was practicing on his basis, and he likes a higher action, whereas I'm Mr. Low Bass. And I could, back in the day, I used to I used to be able to sweep and everything else.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And he does all that on a higher action. So now I'm playing with a higher action, and my fingers are working harder, and my left-hand technique got a little bit better,
well, certainly.
And so, but just watching these guys and talking to them, and they're the nicest guys in the world. Say, hey, I'm going down to, Five Guys. There's a Five Guys in town, and, I'd say, let's meet at Five Guys, and
but they're like a machine. They run them, and they're pretty much very professional. And
yeah. They were professionals all the way around. They got on stage, and
had fun.
Yeah, they had fun, and they threw down, but they played every night, and they delivered every night. It was amazing to watch Mangini play. And then he comes off the stage, and he's the nicest cat in the world. And you're hanging out with him. And he says, hey, you want to get a beer? Hey, you want a glass of wine?
But you don't drink.
But I don't drink, no. And so I always had to turn him down, and I was the first one in my bunk. Actually, you know what's messed up? And that's the truth. I was the first one in my bunk. I am the first one in my bunk on these tours. And that started with TSO.
You're getting a little older now, Fred.
Well, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm trying to shake that image of a bad boy.
Oh, I can see. You're putting quite an effort in there. But their other audiences were different. The whole vibe was different. It was more about it was obviously more about the music.
Yep. I played like 10 songs in 90 minutes, and that's with talking, And it's just like, so they're long songs, and they're intricate instrumentals. With but there's lyrics with the stuff too. But like you could hear the different. I don't even know how I want to say it. Different parts of a song.
Different time. There's a lot. They're like
time
Rush
signatures.
Yeah, they change.
Yeah,
mid song.
I mean, somebody's playing in like I don't know. I'm going to make something up. I'm not a musician. I just play. It's like 16/11 time. And it's like what the hell?
7/3, 7/4.
Like what the hell is this? Well, you count it like this.
And Petrucci's like soloing in the Mixolydian mode, or the Hungarian minor mode, or whatever it was. And he'll change it up to the Mixolydian mode. Well, I don't know what I'm talking
exactly, man.
But
and it's just like we're sitting there going, I know the A note.
Is it most rock and roll in the key of A anyways? That's just fascinating because you've seen, you were Shinedown. And when I say tremendous songs, they were musicians. I'm not discrediting their musicians at all, but they also probably partied and enjoyed being rock stars.
Yeah.
That was part of the whole thing for them. Whereas I don't know if Dream Theater, that was part of it for them.
All that's behind them. I guess they did it one time, but it's focus on playing. And, they're up there.
Putting out the best show they can.
Playing, yeah, exactly.
And they're perfectionists. Huh?
And you know what? That's kind of what's happening to me. I'm out there giving you the best setup. But yeah, I had fun with Zach. I had fun with Shinedown and Alice in Chains. Mm-hmm. But those guys are all
Megadeth.
sober now. And yeah, they're sober now too, And
early Megadeth, early in your career, the early years of Megadeth for you were a little out there.
Yeah. Me and J-Mo would hang out, and I loved him, man. That's my favorite cat to go out on the road, James Lomenzo. Mm-hmm. And we had a blast, man. And we got he and I was in a particularly foul mood one time. I don't even want to tell this story.
Of course you do.
All right, I'm gonna keep it.
Drink that beer, darn it.
I'm gonna keep it safe. Open that up for me. I'm gonna keep it safe. But
what is safe on this show?
Well, so James and I were having a particularly rough day at sound check.
Now, wait. When he was with what band?
It was with Megadeth.
Okay. And you also had him in
Black Label.
Yeah, Black Label Society.
So me and James are sitting there and we're having a really bad sound check and just the shit's flying my way. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And it's just like, you know what? I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. And James looks at me and he goes, let's do it the way we used to do it in Black Label. I'm like, Black Label style, you know, like we were on that connection.
Zach would be so proud.
And we looked at each other, and the rest of the band, and everybody's going off, you know, back to the dressing rooms. Me and JMO looked at each other and just jumped off the front of the stage, walked out the arena,
through the crowd.
Well, there was no crowd yet. They were outside because it's closed. Out the arena, out the front doors, through the crowd. And everybody's going, wow, hey, James, man. Oh, yeah, hey, you know, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. We found the first bar on that street. This is in, like, Iowa or some Des Moines, Iowa. Found the first bar on the street, and we went and got drunk. Or we didn't get drunk. We started drinking. And he's like, man, he goes, yeah, I know, you're having a bad day, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And because not everything was rosy and peachy back then with me and Megadeth. And so me and Lomenzo were sitting there, and he's got his sunglasses on. We're sitting in this bar, you know, like nobody's going to notice us. It's like me and Zach.
You two guys?
When me and Zach were back in the day, sitting there in a bar with our Black Label shit on.
Some guy, some guy thought
nobody's
you were
going
like
to
Ozzy
recognize.
Osbourne.
Yeah, you know, nobody's going to notice us. So we're sitting there, and so me and James are sitting there, and you know, we're at the first bar outside the venue we could find. So of course there's fans in there, and they know exactly who the hell he is, and they know exactly who the hell I am. So we're sitting there drinking, and they're sending us drinks. This sounds familiar. They're sending us drinks, and we're getting drunk. And I'm sitting there, and I'm watching.
The show.
I'm watching. This is before the show. You know, that was a no-no. Megadeth was a dry tour. And so we're sitting there, and it's
bullshit.
Oh, yeah, it was a dry tour. You weren't allowed to drink. And me and James were like sitting there going, and that's why we said we're going to do this Black Label. So we jump off, and we go to the bar. And we're sitting there. And I'm watching the Steelers get their ass beat by the Oakland Raiders. I'm going, and this guy's heckling, "Fucking Steelers suck!" And I'm sitting on the corner, and I'm like going,
"Oh!"
And I'm James. James like, "Easy now. I'm gonna kill him, James. I'm gonna kill him." Now there's a part to this story that I should probably back up to. I should have started with this. At the end of the show that night, these two fans come up and say, "That guy shit his pants." And I'm like, I thought they wanted guitar picks. They're going, come here. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I don't got any picks. He goes, no, come here, we got to talk to you. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm walking over. You wanted a story? Here's a story.
I got it.
I go walking over, and I go, I don't got any picks, guys. Sorry. And he goes, no, man, that guy shit his pants. I'm like, what?
What guy?
I'm like, what are you talking about? And the guy goes, I told you he wouldn't remember. He goes, dude, you scared that guy so bad he shit his pants.
The guy that was harping on the Steelers.
Yeah. Now I got to go back into the story. So evidently,
what did you say to him?
Oh, now we digress to the bar. So I'm sitting there, and it's well drinks. And it's like $2 well drinks, and it's happy hour from like 4 to 7. We go on at like 9. So me and James are sitting there, and James is like, "Oh, I'll just have another beer." I'm like, "Yeah, bring me 4 double vodkas, or yeah, okay, just bring them." And she's like, "I can only give you 2 at a time, you know." She'd give me 1. I'm like, "All right, bring another one." And James is like, "You probably should slow down." I'm like, "I'm in a mood, James. I'm a professional drinker. I know what I'm doing."
Professional.
Ha! Look at that! They tackled him, sacked again. Go Raiders!
Now, were you wearing any Steeler paraphernalia?
Nothing.
Like so he does not know at this time you're from Pittsburgh.
I'm mad, and he's just heckling the Steelers. Like, you guys suck, and I'm sitting there going. And James is like, "Come on, just ignore him." I mean, he was like being blatant about it. So I finally get up. I just, "Shut the fuck up." You know, I'm all mad. The guy's like, "Fuck you. You a Steeler fan?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fucking I'll fucking come over there and fuck you." He's like, "You guys are getting your ass beat. Fucking, you suck." And he's sitting there. He goes, "I'm a Raiders fan." He goes, you don't know how long I've waited for this." He goes, "Immaculate reception was, robbery and shit like." I'm like, you know what? That's it. Talking about the immaculate reception now. I'm gonna come over and kick your ass. So he's over there. He's heckling.
Don't fuck with Franco.
So yeah. So now the fans are like, "Hey man, cool. Let me buy you a drink." And it's just like, yeah, you know what? I could use another drink. And so I'm in the bag, And I'm like, and the Steelers lose. And this guy's like, in your face, fucker. You know, he's like sitting there like across the, he's on the corner. He's like the obnoxious Steeler fan, you know, picking on a Browns fan. But this guy's, he's getting me. And James is like, come on. And James is only like 5'2", you know what I mean? He's like 95 pounds, you know. He's a little spinner. But, sorry, James. But,
no, he's not, James.
But, so this guy, and James is like, come on. And he's actually getting physical with me now. Come on, leave the guy, you know, I'm going to go fucking kill him, James. I'm going to go kill that guy. I'm going to go beat his ass. He's talking about the Steelers, man. James is like, no, you're not going to do that. I'm like, all right. So the fans are buying me drinks, and the fans are like, man, that guy's really giving you a hard time. Are you going to go kick his ass? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. So James is like, look, don't do anything dumb. I'm like, all right, cool. I said, James, he goes, I'm like, yeah, I was going to go over and yell at him, but I'm not going to do anything dumb. And the fans are like, man, that guy, he just won't shut up. He's just all over you. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to sit here and ignore him.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to sit here and not listen to him. Steelers suck. Yep. All right. And I look, and James is talking to these two other fans. He's doing pictures. I'm like, I look over, and the guy goes to the bathroom.
Okay.
I'm like, look at James. I'm like, so I start walking this way. I walk all the way around. I go into the bathroom. I wouldn't hurt a flea, man.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
But
you look a little menacing.
But I look scary. You know,
you do.
Yeah, you know, and it's probably this jacket too. And so I go, and the guy's in the bathroom, and he's standing there. I kick the door open, and the guy turns around. He's not even ready to piss yet, you know. And I go walking in there, and I've got him. I said, you say one more thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'll kick your ass right here where you stand. The guy goes, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm telling you. And I'm sitting there like, you know, I'm like looking at all menacing. And the other two guys, they come in and they go, oh, he's going to kick his ass. He's going to kick his ass. And they come running in the bathroom. And they say, I've got him against the thing. And the guy's like, yes. I'm not touching him, but I've got my finger down his face. I said, I'll fucking kill you right here. You say one more thing about the Steelers. And the guy shit his pants. And they thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
Did you know he was shit his pants?
No, I didn't know he was shit his pants. I don't even remember this. This is where it happens. There's been times, yes, there has been times where I've blacked out and forgotten everything. That's for everybody that says that's never happened. So I don't remember any of this. And I don't remember anything.
Was the guy going to the show?
I don't remember anything until 10 songs into a 17-song set when Chris Broderick goes, oh, you finally got a punch right, idiot. He goes, you're starting to sober up. I'm like, what the fuck, Chris? These songs out of order? He goes, no. He goes, oh, you are sober now. And Chris is the nicest guy in the world. He goes, welcome back to the show. And I go, what the fuck, man? And he goes, man, you're wasted. And I'm like, holy shit. I realized I was fucking blacked out. I was blacked out for hours. I was blacked out for fucking hours. And I'm in the show, and I'm doing the punches. And I'm like, where the fuck are my ears? I can't hear anything because we're all in in-ears, and I don't have my in-ears.
You put them on.
And I'm looking for in-ears. And I'm like, what the fuck? Chris goes, just hang in there. It's okay. He's the nicest guy in the world. He's like, it's okay. He goes, it's actually kind of funny. I'm like, what? He goes, oh, dude, you're in so much shit. I'm like, what? I'm like, what the fuck? So these kids come up to me after the show and go, oh, man, you know, that guy shit his pants. I'm like, what the hell? And they proceed to tell me everything that just happens. And they said, we watched you. James was holding you, trying to keep, and you're like, I'm going to go beat his ass. You kept saying, I'm just going to fucking beat his ass. We're talking about the Steelers. And they said, we watched you. You're like, they said, James started taking pictures and talking to somebody, and as soon as he turned his back, you went, and you snuck around, and like, he's going to go get him. And they said they come running in there, and they said, I didn't touch him.
Right.
They said, I was sitting there like, I'll fucking beat your ass right here. And they said he shit his pants. So.
Typical Raiders fan.
Here we go.
Sorry.
JMO's side of the story says, well, yeah, when you were in there and we're going to kill that guy, and we said, yeah, we probably should go now. James said, now, I don't know if anybody's ever seen me drunk, but
I have.
I can't walk a straight line. I walk diagonal.
That's pretty normal typically for you.
Well, James,
You got a strange
James
gait.
said, James, who's 95 pounds to my 200, said that he had to turn me physically sideways. So I was just ranting and raving
Oh, really?
about down the street about how the Steelers got robbed, blah, 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 it sucks, blah, blah. And he said, I was walking in the traffic, and I just was like, and he turned me diagonal, and I'd walk down the sidewalk, show you over a little bit. And it's like a car out of alignment. You take your hands off the wheel and it's drifting. He said, but we went back in the same way, and I don't
Through the
remember.
front door.
I don't remember any of this stuff. Evidently, oh man, I can't tell that part of it.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't. Evidently,
Yes,
I
you
can't.
can.
No, I can't.
Yes, you can.
I can tell everything else but this part because it's kind of bad. But
Kinda.
I flipped off a bunch of people that I shouldn't have, and instead of getting mad, they laughed at me. And I'm not going to name names.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, they said,
Did you
"Dude,
flip off Dave Mustaine?
that might be one of the names." But I don't remember doing it. But they said he laughed. He goes, I like you because you're funny.
Dave Elfson?
No, when Elfson wasn't a band, it was Lomenzo then.
Oh,
but yeah,
sure,
I'm
that's
not.
right.
I'm not going to
Jim had
confirm
the
or
bass.
deny that it was Mustaine, but I'm not going to confirm or deny that. But he said, you make me laugh, you know, and so evidently I'm hammered, and James is hammered, and he's got his sunglasses on, and he won't take his sunglasses. It's a no drinking tour. So we're both up there.
How could that be possible?
So we're up there, and this at this point in time, I was on Broderick's side of the stage doing stage left, and Lomenzo was on stage right. So I had to go over to stage right. And that's where Willie G's part of the story says, I'm out there, and I'm looking, and I'm like going, what the hell's James dragging around behind him? He goes, he's dragging some kind of string around behind him. And I take a look, and I'm like, wait a second, that looks like a set of in-ears. James, you lost your in-ears. You're so drunk, you lost your in-ears. And James is like, I got my in-ears. He goes, where did these in-ears come from? And they've got the big Pittsburgh Steeler logos on them.
Shit.
It's like, oh, these must be Freddy's in-ears. And he said, Willie comes over and he says, I'm sick. Oh, sorry, I got to take it back. I take it back. I got to go back up a list. This is before the thing. We had this guy, Scott, and we had a brand new audio engineer. And he's sitting there and he goes to our monitor engineer. He goes, the system tech goes to Scott. He goes, I think Freddy's fucked up. He's not going to make it to the show. And he said, they look over and I'm going, trying to plug in a cable. And I'm going like this. And Scott says, he looks, and he goes, I go, boom. He said, you just fall flat on your face. Didn't even put your hands out. He goes, you're laying on the floor. And the guy goes, oh my God. He's never going to be able to make it. And Scott goes, nah. He's a professional. As soon as the music starts, he'll be fine. And this guy Brian's like, I don't know, man. They said somebody comes over, rolls me over, and I'm like, picks me up, and I'm like, I get it in. And so I'm like wandering around. That's when the band comes up, and that's when I start flipping everybody off. But so Willie comes over with my in-ears, and he goes, how can you be doing your punches with no in-ears? How can you hear what's going on? And I'm like,
Mr. Stone Sober, Willie.
yeah, it's Stone Sober. He goes, oh, you're fucked up again. You know, so yeah, like 10 songs into a 17-song set, I finally started getting the punches right because I didn't have some all messed up. But yeah, so that's a silly off the cuff story that I haven't told in years, but it just something reminded me of it, and it made me laugh.
And your love for your hometown team.
Oh, and that's what it is. It's the love for my hometown team, man. I mean,
Don't fuck with the Steelers.
Oh, dude, everything. My row box is Steelers. My buddy Ed, he sends me Steelers stuff. My buddy Skeeter sends me Steelers stuff. My buddy Lou sends me there's like Steeler fans that I know from like all over the country, and it's like you go in there. My box has got Steeler stuff on it, you know. I go into Baltimore and I'm like, yeah. I put the towel up, you know. And that's what we did with Jason. That's what we would do with Shinedown. Wherever we played, Poor Jason, man. He'd be out there playing. He'd turn around. There was a terrible towel hanging on his road box in Baltimore, or on his amplifier or his speakers in Baltimore. You know, it's like all Steelers'd out, you know? And he's like, I was wondering why they were throwing stuff at me, you asshole. You know? And you go into Cincinnati, like when Cincinnati was like good, but the Steelers would always beat them in the playoffs, you know? It'd be just like a giant Steelers emblem in like different colored gaff tape on his cab. He's like, oh man, you know, he'd turn around and he'd be like, they're making shit on his, you know, it's all the time, man. And you know, you go into Cleveland and there's so yeah, I mean, you know, people always go, why do you dick on Baltimore and Cleveland and so there's a reason why. They're the AFC North. That's the teams we play. They're like, oh man, we just thought you hated. No. I hate them because they play football. You know, it's just like, that's why I think so. That's why these guys. That is why those are the cities I always pick.
Well, didn't Zach, being a big baseball fan, he loved the Yankees naturally, but didn't he also have a lot of respect for the Steelers? Jack Lambert.
Yeah.
Jack Lambert.
Dude, fucking Jack Lambert, bro. Fucking that guy could fucking play fucking football, man. The fucking best middle fucking linebacker there ever fucking was in a fucking game of fucking football. Fucking 158 fucking pounds this fucking guy was. No, he wasn't. He dude, fucking 158 fucking pounds. Actually, he's a game warden or something back in the day.
Jack, if you're listening, probably not, but if you
one of
are,
my
we'd
favorites.
love to have you on this show.
Yeah, come on down.
Childhood hero.
Come out of the woods.
Love to have you on this show.
Yeah, man. I mean, my dad saw him one day, I guess, when he up at fishing. And, you know, he was just game wardening, you know, and they were talking. And my dad's buddy goes, oh, my God, you know who that was? My dad's like, no. That's Jack Lambert. My dad's like, who? Yeah. You know, and my dad was a Steeler fan, too. You know, he's like, really? That was Jack Lambert? You know, because I guess, you know, he was a badass ball player.
Well,
but
in all your travels, though, isn't there there's a shit ton of Steeler fans across the country?
Oh, yeah, everywhere.
Bars everywhere.
This is like, you're getting stories. You wanted stories.
Bars everywhere. I mean, like, right?
I am in Sydney.
I'd like to have a little more popcorn first, sir.
More popcorn, please.
Yes,
I'm in Sydney, Australia. I'm in a Subway.
Wait, Sydney, Australia?
I'm in Sydney, Australia. I'm in a Subway Eat Fresh hoagie store.
Wait, there's Subway stores in Australia?
There's Subway stores everywhere.
All right.
So I'm in Subway, and I've got my back to the door and to the counter, and I'm talking to somebody.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm sitting there, and I hear, hey, can I get a cold cut combo on wheat, easy on mayo, and some extra tomatoes and some lettuce on that? And I'm like, I didn't even look up. I'm like, you're from Pittsburgh? And I just said it loud. I wasn't even looking. I was looking straight ahead. Like, you're from Pittsburgh? Guy goes, how'd you know? And I turn around. He's got like a Palomalu shirt on. He's got like a Troy Palomalu shirt on. And he's like in Australia. He says, oh, we love Steelers down here. I'm like, you sound like you're from fucking Pittsburgh. He was from Pittsburgh, but he had moved down there. But it was just like, wow, man. Yeah, they're everywhere. You go out to L.A., man. That Chargers game the other day. My God, all this stuff. There's like 80% Steelers fans. But you go down there in San Diego and you see Steelers stuff, Penguin stuff everywhere. Because everybody leaves. They go out to these places. Okay. And then you have like Steeler bars like in Long Beach and shit like that. It's fucking awesome.
You been to them?
Oh, yeah. I've been to all these places, man. There's a Steeler bar in Baltimore. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
In Baltimore?
In Baltimore. And so, I mean, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
But there wouldn't be a Baltimore Ravens bar in Pittsburgh. No, you wouldn't find one anywhere. One of those rat birds. Fucking Browns. You can imagine a Brown bar somewhere. The Browns.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, you know, I had to laugh. You know, it's like I'll go there. They spend some money, get this. You know, they have this hotshot quarterback, and they got what's his name, the wide receiver, Beckham or not Beckham or whatever it is. I get it. You know, they spend some money. And they guaranteed us, you know, guaranteed a playoff, and they're failing. I mean, come on.
Well, look at us. I hope we get it. Well, we always say we're going to have a good week this week. Let's see what happens. Those are the ones that we lose.
But we've already won. See, this team has never won anything.
Yeah, true.
Uh-huh. Brown. I have some very nice friends from Cleveland.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for them. And they're all football fans, and they're dying right now.
Oh, yeah. So I still go into these places with my terrible towel hanging, my Steeler stuff hanging in my box. Oh, yeah.
That's the best ever.
Megadeth's drummer, Sean Drover, was a big Steeler fan. And so, I mean, to this day, right. It's Steeler Day, you know. Jerry Cantrell, Steeler fan.
Really? Jerry is?
Jerry lived in Finleyville, not too far out here when he was a kid. And
Really?
yeah, that's why he was a Steeler fan. And so he was at, he grew up here in the heyday of the Super Bowl stuff. So, back when they were good. And but I remember one day our NFL, our satellite went out on our bus, and we had the NFL package. He goes, "You want to watch the game?" I'm like, "I got to do load in." He goes, "You want to watch the game?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually." I go, "But the satellite's out." He goes, "We'll fix it." He walks on Velvet Revolver's crew bus. He goes, "Yeah, we need to go to your back lounge real quick." And the guy goes back in the back lounge. "All right, everybody out. We're watching the game." You guys got an NFL package, so we watched the Steeler game on Velvet Revolver bus. Because you can go with. If I would have went by myself, I'm like, "Fuck you." You go with Jerry. Jerry's like, "Hey, can we watch the game?" Yeah, man, no problem.
No one says no to Jerry.
Nobody's gonna say no. So he and I watched the game. He's like, "Really, how much do you really have to do? It's Mikey. Come on." I guess you could wait a day.
But you toured. The one thing about your schedule was you just never seem to turn work down. I mean, you were touring year round, man. So you've also been with Black Label. You spent time in Europe on some rather shitty tour buses, right?
Yeah. We had this one. It was the Folsom Prism.
Folsom Prison.
We wrote Folsom Prison on the side of the bus.
You wrote it?
It was just great.
Wait, as you're traveling through Europe?
Oh yeah, we wrote Folsom County Prison on the side of the bus.
Oh my God!
In tape, in big black gaff letters. It was. We got the marshal, and they saw us pull up to the gate. And first thing those guys are like, Joel and those guys are like, and Bocott, they're like, "I suppose you need some laundry done. Would you like some Marshall shirts? And could we get these guys some food?" We looked. It was one of those. It was the last available bus in Europe.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because I was vaguely familiar with Nick's. Nick had told me some horror stories about the quality of the buses on a couple of those tours.
These guys would
Europe.
They would wait till the last minute to book these buses. Like people are like booking buses for next year right now, and it's October.
Was
right
there
now.
a bus that you had? I was told it was like a 1984 and the air conditioning didn't work or something like that.
See, when I wasn't with them, when I came home right after Rockstar, that's what their bus kept breaking down, and it was some old.
So you missed the good tour
I
there.
missed all the good shit. I missed all that, but I was soon back. I was back like 2 months later. A month and a half later. After that, but and the bus was a better bus. But
did you ever bus through any parts of like South America?
No, you fly for places like those.
From Rio to like Sao Paulo.
Yeah, you fly. It's all flying, man.
What about Mexico?
Distances are too big. Yeah, we fly through there. We never rode a bus down there.
What about Canada?
Canada, you take a bus. You take a bus through Canada. It's because your cities are like Toronto, Ottawa, stuff like that.
Are fans more polite there at shows? Canada?
Canada? Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they are, man. I actually like going places like that, man. In like England, it's just
what's the differences?
They're
Well, let me ask you this
polite
question.
people.
Well, let me ask you this question. So, we talked last podcast a little bit about mosh pits.
Mm-hmm.
And the ferocious nature of some mosh pits and so forth. Is the mosh pit still a thing over in Europe?
Mosh pits are giant in Europe because you're talking festival-sized mosh pits. You're talking giant, 100-foot, 200-foot, like a half a football field of mosh. There's dust that comes up over there off the ground, man. Your stuff's covered in dust from like mosh pits. South America, brutal mosh pits. These guys, they get into their metal, man.
So it's a little more terrifying.
It's a little more terrifying. But again, you fell down. Let me help you up.
I just can't wrap my head around that.
We're metalheads. We're not. Look at us. We may look terrifying.
You're the guy that broke someone's legs, maybe, in a mosh pit.
She shouldn't have been laying on the floor. I actually just watched that episode the other day because I was trying to freshen up one. And I'm like, oh man, I can't even believe I told that story. I always felt bad about that. And I don't know if I did it but I know that I felt a give. And I'm like, oh man.
So I just watched which I thought was great, but I just watched a 2009, it could have been 2008, video concert produced by Julian Temple, I think, because he's a famous live producer, video producer, MTV video producer. Julian Temple he recorded the Sex Pistols reunion tour of 08 or 09.
Yeah.
And I think he took the 5 nights in London, the 5 solid nights, and he remixed them all together. But the crowd in that show was so over the top, insane. They didn't show a mosh pit. They didn't show any of that stuff, but they were on top of each other, losing their mind. Now, again, it's a punk rock band, a legendary punk rock band, different kind of audience, bones in their noses, pogs in their ears, spiked hair, and eclectic audience, because you'd have that, and the person next to them would be coming from work with a 3-piece suit on. But the crowd energy, the way it was filmed at least, was very over the top. And I wondered if that was a representative of, was that enhanced by the cinematography, or was that really how it was?
Probably.
And
really
how does that? How does that kind of imagery translate to metal? Is it kind of the same thing?
It is the same thing. I mean, what's funny is we were watching. I was watching that Queen Bohemian Rhapsody last night.
Okay.
There's nothing like playing a stadium, and I mean, even for me, I'm a tech.
So you like it then?
Yeah,
you like the bigger audiences,
dude. It gives you goosebumps to hear these people sing along, to see them mosh out there.
They bounce overseas.
They bounce, yeah, and you can feel it. That's the thing.
It's a little unsettling to watch,
though. You can feel the energy. You can feel that stage move, and you're like, you really think this thing's gonna come down? And I'm just a tech, but I go out and I play the same thing every night, because I do guitars and bass. So I play King of the Hill on the bass, and I play Tonight We're Gonna Rock It by Spinal Tap.
That's it means as a sound check.
Yes, as my little line check. When I don't play that, the fans get mad, and I get instant messages. I get notes. They find me at the hotel. You didn't play King of the Hill. And I'm like, really?
Because that's your thing, and for
and that's and I giggle about it, because I'm almost like, this is just so absurd that I'm playing, but I'm playing a festival, and it was like always really weird.
When you say King of the Hill, what are you talking about?
Oh,
you mean from the TV show?
Yeah, from the TV show.
That's hilarious.
And that's what it is. But I think it was like me. I think it was King. We actually recorded it. And so it's like, it was like one of these Reno shows or something. I think we did it in Reno, and I just remember, I had the recording, and then I lost all my hard drives and my laptop and stuff like that. So I lost all my cool fun stuff. But I just remember playing King of the Hill with King, the band King, and those guys for a 3-piece. They're amazing, and but the crowds. In these festivals, and I told somebody, I said, watching that Wembley shot gave me goosebumps. You know what I mean? To actually see 100,000 people, because we've seen 100,000 in South America with Sabbath, and stuff like that, and it's just
that has to be powerful.
It is. It's an amazing visual, and it's just it's for those moments that you want to go see these things. I mean, like with Dream Theater, we're playing like festivals with like 80,000. We played like Download, which used to be the Monsters of Rock, Castle Doddington. Yeah. Same place, different name. But
so the Download Festival was the old Castle Doddington Festival.
Yeah, because Doddington's behind you. And
so Download bought the naming rights?
Yeah, they bought the naming rights, so it's called Download. Okay. But I mean, it's still the same grounds as we played with Black Label back in the day and stuff like that. And
probably helps a younger band though, because they get to go on a bigger stage.
Yep. And it's even when we went on with Black Label, we went on early, and you have to hang out all day. It's like, really? I got to hang out here at this festival that other people have to pay for, and I'm going to go hang out? And it used to be, I used to go out and watch every show. And I remember like going out and watching.
Because you could, right?
Because you could. And I remember me and Zach went out and watched Sabbath from front of house. And I just sat there and just had goosebumps. It's my first time seeing Sabbath back together, and it's just like na-na-na-na-na, and it's
so like, are we talking like late 90s, early 2000s?
When they got back this last time with
the last run.
Yeah,
last run.
when they reunited. Wow.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
I saw the Pittsburgh show for Sabbath coincidentally, and it was a remake. They canceled, and they came back, and I was sitting in a luxury box for that show with my buddy Jim, and Pantera was opening for that. We're talking 99.
Yep.
It's a ways back, but I remember Pantera being horrifying. And I'm a Tone guy, so Dimebag's Tone. This is well before I ever worked with him. I recognized he was a great musician, but the tone wasn't my thing.
No.
But as soon as Sabbath hit that stage, and there was sludge,
Laney's.
but it was detuned.
There's Randall's and Laney's.
And the Laney was just so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, the tube tone from Iommi's guitars were so powerful, and Ozzy was somewhat on that night. But it was interesting. It was detuned, so your ear was, being a guitar player, you get it, but it was really like when I say sludge, it was low.
Yeah,
it was very low. But that thing was very powerful. But I can't imagine seeing Sabbath in like a festival.
Yeah,
with like 100,000 people.
I remember, we did Hellfest.
Yeah, where is that at?
France.
Kiss has played that a few times.
It's in France.
Clausen, France?
Yeah. Clisson.
Clisson.
Clisson. I'd like a Clisson.
They will laugh at you.
But now I remember Oz was playing. Was it Oz or was it Sabbath? And they closed the stage off. And they said, I was with Megadeth, and I think Slayer was there, and Megadeth's there, and Anthrax and stuff like that. And I'm walking backstage, and they're like, "Hey, you come up and watch?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a closed stage. Your family. What are you talking about? How many wristbands you need?" And I remember going up there, and I was like the only tech, and. Yeah, I guess it was because Ryan wanted to go and all this. So I got a couple from my tech buddies and the guys with me on Megadeth. And we went up and watched Sabbath. And it was like, we're right there beside Geezer. But here's
amazing
Slayer and Anthrax and Megadeth and like other bands, other legendary bands, and they're standing there
in awe.
Yeah, in awe. And then they say, "All right, you guys gotta go. All right, you can stay because you're family." And it's just like, they all everybody else left eventually, but it was just like, "Yeah, you guys want to stick around?" It's like, yeah, can we? And it's like, yeah, of course, your family. I'm like, and so we stuck around, we watched it, we had a great time, and but to be.
What a special time though, because they're pretty much done now.
Yeah,
and you got an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the one thing I do is I cherish, I cherish all those moments. Like I saw Kiss on this last tour, and me and Elson. Wow, it wasn't this last tour. It was 2 years ago.
Do you mean the lip sync tour? No, that was 2
years ago.
I'm sorry.
But me and Elson went out and watched Kiss because Kiss was like one of his influences, and we were like two little kids sitting out there going, "It's Kiss and he's flying! Look at him fly!"
For the 20th year in a row.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still when you're a fan, it never gets old. And we watched it from out there, and it just we watched from the crowd and
because you're still a fan of music,
exactly
right?
Because it's a fan of music.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing that your contemporaries, those in bands you work for, that have their own levels of fame, still come back to the heavies, your Kiss, Black Sabbath, Aerosmith, and you see these bands, and it's like wow, I'm still a massive fan.
Yeah, exactly, man.
That's very cool.
But the point I was trying to make is you had these legends that are still watching their heroes, up there, and you're standing amongst them, and it's just like such a cool vibe. And then you're like standing next to somebody, and it's a cool vibe. Yeah, like I remember Download because I was a big Motley Crue fan, and Nicky was coming up to do Anarchy in the UK with these guys, and I'm standing in
wrote that song?
I'm standing in my world.
Little Johnny.
Yeah. I'm standing in my world, and here he is, man. Nicky Sixx, the guy that I wanted to play bass. I got one, And he comes up and says, "Hey, man, you mind if I watch for a couple minutes over here?" I'm like, Yeah, man.
Sure.
It's cool. I'm like pooping my pants. That guy just shit his pants. I'm like, oh, you know, it's Nikki Sixx, man, you know. And so he's a way cool guy. I've met him before. Actually, Steve Gibb put a thank you for me on Nikki's, because he's played on Nikki's solo album.
That's very
cool. I did some work for Steve, and so I'm actually on a Nikki Sixx solo album as a thank you. And I just, you know, I met him back then, and it was awesome. And
you told me before too that when you were on the Ozfest from like 2005, where Sabbath was the headliner, and you said it was just amazing because, you know, you said Iommi was like a ghost, like he'd show up for like just how you told me, he would show up for sound check, and then like a minute later you turn your head, poof, he's already back in his trailer.
Yeah, he's gone.
And you would never see him unless it was the show or the sound check. But he was like, you know, and no matter how hot it was, he had that black leather overcoat, right? Is that right?
Yeah. They they got to the point where, you know, it's a rarity that these big bands like that come in. Megadeth will do a sound check every day, but big bands like that, it's a rarity from them to come in. They'll come in and get you know, the techs usually do the sound check because they trust these guys. Mike Clement's been Tony's tech for forever, and
yeah, he must really trust that guy.
So
I mean, how many decades now? Right?
Yeah. So to actually be able to see these guys at a sound check, it's like, because they never let anybody stay in there. And it's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna sneak in here. I'm you know, at the time I was like 40-some years old, 30-some years old. And I'm still sneaking around trying to catch a glimpse of the band, you know, which is awesome. But you know, I mean, it's cool. I mean, I still geek out over rock and roll.
I know you do. I love that.
The other day, I shit you not, because I've seen so many people, and please forgive me for saying this, because I feel really bad about saying this, but I've seen so many people, and I've known, you know, and it's not. I mean, 30 years in this, or sorry, 20 years in this business, 21 years, 30 years as being a stagehand, 20 years of touring. I've seen so many people and faces and names, and they're all run together.
Sure.
And this guy says hi to me in catering the other day. And I'm like, oh man, what the fuck is that? What the fuck's that bus driver's name, man? Dude, I know his face. What the hell's his name? And you know, he's walking, and he goes, oh, you know. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck is his name? Sorry, Bob Seger. I thought you were a bus driver. And I'm like, man, I said, what's that bus driver's name?
It was Bob Seger.
And he goes, you mean Bob? Oh, Bob. I can't remember what tour was I on. It's Bob Seger. I'm like, that's why he looks familiar.
Well, he's aged a little bit. He doesn't look like he did.
But you know what? He sounded amazing.
Yeah, everybody says that.
And I sat there. I'm like, dude, this is amazing, you know. And he actually said hi to me. I'm like texting my friends, going,
"That's very cool."
Bob Seger said hi to me in catering. But all right, here's one for you. Now, look,
you gave me some more popcorn.
I've only had 2 beers.
What's up with that?
I'm telling you stories that I won't tell. So here, we
needed to do the rock and roll show, and that's what tonight's turning into. So, which is good.
So you want a story? I'll give you a
beer? Or are you good?
I'm good. You know me. I don't drink. But
not beer. I've never seen you drink beer like that. But.
Oh wow, it's 10 o'clock. But
that's what? That's all right. We got time.
But so. This will be my last story of the evening.
Spit it out, Fred.
So I get a chance to be on stage with one of the greatest bands of all time.
Don't you dare say Steel Panther.
Steel Panther, I've been on stage with them too. But I was able to be on stage with one of my all-time favorite bands.
The Who?
What? No. The Eagles. And I'm a cable pager. And that means all I have to do is just sit there. And when the cameraman goes out with the cable, I give him cable. And when he comes back, I pull in the slack so nobody trips. And I'm supposed to be in front of the stage. No. You're not the front stage cable pager. You're the on stage cable pager.
Wow.
I'm on stage with the Eagles.
What's left of them?
Oh, man. You know what? Vince Gill, he should have just been an original Eagle. And then he had Glenn Fry's kid. Looked just like him from like 1972.
Wait a second. Who was with them? Vince Gill was with them.
Vince Gill's playing him.
I didn't know that.
Oh, my God. He's amazing. He's such a great guitar player.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, Vince Gill played guitar. Joe Walsh was there, of course.
The legend.
You know, Glenn Fry's kid was playing...
That's very cool.
Guitar. It looks just like him. And then Don Henley's playing drums. And Don Henley's from like here to that wall away from me. And the guy says to me, he goes, "Hey man, look, sit here beside this Leslie." And he goes, "Just use the Leslie as a shield. You know, so people, you know, so you're not openly seen." But I'm sitting at the Leslie. This box of condoms is the Leslie. This Vagisil here
Don Henley
is the drums. There's the drums right there. And here are the Eagles out front. So here are the Eagles. And I'm sitting right here. I'm on stage.
That's
and I can
crazy.
see everything. It's the fucking greatest. I don't know if you know this, but I am an Eagles fan.
I'm aware.
And not the Philadelphia Eagles. The Hotel California Eagles. And I love them. And I don't know if you know this. I don't know if anybody knows this. I can't sing a note of music to save my life. But I will sing Eagles songs all day. I'm in my car. My God, you would think that I was the 8th member of the Eagles. And I'm sitting there. And I'm loving it. And every song's fantastic. And I'm way into this music. And I'm like, man, I always heard Don Henley was really crabby, man, but he is just balling out that guy, his little monitor guy or whatever. And he'd come off and he'd sit there and he'd get, you know, so the guys going, you know, and guys, you know, he'd seem like,
wearing them out.
Fix it, you know, fix it. He's like, and every once in a while you just see him. I don't know if there was something wrong with their in-ear monitors or whatever, because they turn around and they go like this to each other. And look, and somebody would laugh, and it's like, fuck, man, you know, you just see it, and you just see him going, fix it. These guys going, I don't know, and I'm sitting there and I'm loving it, man, you know, and I am so caught up in this, you know, I'm singing. And, you know, they're singing and everything's great. And fucking, I'm like, man, they must be getting feedback or something. They keep making this awful, like looking at each other all goofy. And you see them getting, fix it. What's going on? And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm already gone. You know, I'm all happy.
Love that song.
You know, and I'm sitting
Love
there.
That song.
You can't hide your lying eyes. And I'm just like sitting there, and your smile. And that's what I want like that. And I realized that as I was sitting here the whole time, hiding behind the Leslie, and when I turned my head and hit the
you were causing the
and
feedback.
hit the microphone for the Leslie, they were hearing my vocals. And they're going, what the fuck is that?
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's great.
That is a true story. I am sorry, Eagles. I did. That is my rock and roll. I can't tell this story of the week.
It's hysterical.
And I still feel, I told that story the other day and I figured, fuck it, I could tell it. And what are they going to do? You know?
Oh God,
But it literally, you know, you can't hide your lying eyes. And boom. And I just face planted right now. And I've been sitting there the whole show like this. You know?
So Henley was getting your vocals in your in-ears.
Early.
Oh my God, that's great.
Out open doors with just a smile. I'm like, yeah, it's
So
my
bad
great
for
time.
Henley now.
I'm like, oh man, he's really crabby tonight, you know? Yeah, it's me.
Oh my God, that's great. What a band though, huh?
Oh, fucking killer band. I've seen them so many times, man. I've seen them, I mean, you know, and Walsh is just amazing. My God, he's such an amazing guitar player. You know?
Yeah, not even for the leads, just I think the song structure and the chordal stuff and the rhythm, you know. I mean, Funk 49 is still one of my favorite songs from the James Gang.
Yep.
You hear that and it's just got that.
Man. I play that a lot. I do play that a lot. That's another sound checker for me. Funk 49.
Yeah, to be on stage with the Eagles, that's a thrill.
Yeah. And so that's the highlight of my last year. You know, this year we've got TSO coming up.
That's where you're headed.
I leave Friday. I leave in 2 days.
That's why we got Fred in here before he splits.
I'm sure at some point I'm going to be calling or writing, or you'll see some kind of hysterical post on Instagram about me having a miserable time somewhere. But you know what I got though? I got the camera now. So
Yeah,
I'm going to be getting out of the room, taking some pics.
You should.
I just got, let's count them. You need 3 hands now. 11 pictures in galleries now.
Good for you.
Yeah. I got this last one.
Keep marketing yourself.
You know, I mean, you pay money to enter these contests or whatever, but you know what? Still, my picture's getting hung somewhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's a wide variety of things.
Imagine if you had done this like 15 years ago.
Oh my God! See, that was the thing. Is all the hard drives got stolen? Even with my
I remember that.
my junk cameras, I had these pictures that I sit around and go, man, they don't compare to what I took back then. Pictures of Zach. Mm-hmm. I've got this one of Jason Todd from Shinedown where I think it was probably the best picture I ever took. And it's
a couple with him playing the Boogie Bowl, which are amazing.
That's what it was. It was a shot, and he was on his knees, and he's sitting there.
Yeah.
And it was
I might have a compressed version of that.
Oh, if you do, find it, man. Because that was, to me, that was a shot that was just, you know, I loved that shot. But there was just so much, and I would love to be able to have some of those pictures back to enter them and things, because they were like done with a real camera. Mm-hmm. But for years, what I won most of these things on was like using an iPhone, and it's just like, you know, I'm editing them and making them look good and stuff like that. But I did my first real photo shoot with someone, and a little don't want to brag, but I took somebody's yearbook photos. They're a little slow on the slow getting the yearbook photos. They didn't like what they got, so
I have a hard time picturing you as a yearbook photographer.
Oh, dude, I had a great time. We went up to Settlers Ridge, or some Settlers Cabin up there, and the leaves were starting to change, and I just took some photos, and they loved it. It was awesome, man. So I had a good time. I did that. Trying to think, I took some concert photos the other day for local bands. You know, just I'm enjoying it. So this year on TSO, I'm gonna have a hobby. Like I did on Dream Theater. That's what I did. I didn't drink. I sat in the bus and I edited photos, and that's the first one in my bunk. That's what I'm gonna be again.
I'll give you some advice. One photographer to another: never edit photos while you're drinking.
See, that's why I don't drink.
It could go south real quick.
Yeah.
So this tour with TSO is going to take you. I'm assuming Pittsburgh's included in that, but it's you were talking last time about how it's just not. You know, you're in the East Coast TSO, which is pretty much the cold climate,
the cold weather tour. You know, they say it's the East Coast.
You're bringing a jacket this time.
Yeah, I'm going to take a jacket this time. I've actually picked it out, and I've already placed it. It's the first time I've ever placed anything in a spot where I won't forget it 2 days before a tour, because I'm like packing that morning. You know, if I leave at 7 a.m. at 5 o'clock, you know, I'm at the house still packing, going, I have to be there right now. You know, and I'm live 20 minutes from the airport, half hour from the airport. But I've already started packing. Yeah, it's East Coast, in which we laugh at because it's basically just Ohio, New York, and Pennsylvania. You know, and you were up in Cleveland in the winter. You know, instead of setting the South, how about a little, you know, Miami? Miami likes Christmas music. You know, how about, you know?
I thought it wasn't Christmas music.
It's not Christmas music. It's holiday.
What is it exactly?
Holiday music, but
it's not religious.
It's not religious. But
although Christians kind of like, you know, Christmas Christians.
Yeah, you get the Christ out of it, you know. But you got to, you know, it'd be nice to go to Orlando or somewhere, but no, we get, you know, Cleveland on the lake in the winter, you know, Buffalo, you know.
I did a couple of these tours with TSO. Do you like them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody's great. Crew-wise, it's the all-star game of roadies, man. You got the best crew out there.
That's good to hear.
You know, and it was nice to.
Do you think people are just generally in a good mood too? It's Christmas time. It's holiday season.
fuck that. You're up for fucking 20 hours a fucking day. You get up at 5.
the fans.
Fuck them. But you know what I got? And you're going to ask me, can you meet? But yeah, I mean, yeah, they're great. The fans are great. They're in the holiday spirit from the middle of, even before Thanksgiving, all the way to New Year's. That's what we go. And so, I get to miss every holiday, including Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. I'll miss it, but
it's in your blood. Okay, so before we wrap up, I have a couple questions that were part of our very loyal followers and viewers of our show. A couple of them are fans I know personally of yours for a long time. So one of the questions was your favorite experiences at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh.
At the arena? Mm-hmm. Oh man. Like, could I be at a concert, or could it be
anything? Favorite experience, whether you were working just as a fan.
Man, one of my favorite as a fan was seeing Motley Crue, my first concert there, and I just thought it was so amazing. And here I am. I'm just
like 85, 84.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, I was still in high school.
Who opened?
Y&T.
I remember them.
Yeah.
They had a song about Indians or something. Although the guitar player in that band's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Jack. Oh, man.
It's been so long.
His tone's always been great.
But I've actually run into those guys from time to time over on the West Coast. But yeah, man, I mean, seeing that, just being a kid and seeing that, and I seen Maiden.
Did you work gigs there?
I did, yeah. I worked gigs there. I used to rig there. I did hockey games there. I got yelled at by Don Cherry because I was yelling too loud. Because Don Cherry was April. I'm like, fuck you, Cherry. He always, no, Lemieux, they're the big crybaby Lemieux. I'm like, fuck you, because down there, fucking, I got in trouble. And
I'm sure you did.
But man, I remember Bobby O was teching for Ace on that comeback tour, and
Ace Frehley.
And I went to the show.
He was at the arena?
It was at the arena, 96. Farewell
tour.
Oh,
the Kiss farewell tour. Yeah.
And
there was 2 nights. I was there both nights.
And I'd met Bobby a few times, and I was walking. I went to the show. And
June 6th and 7th, 1996?
In 96, yeah. So I went walking backstage.
July.
And because I parked back behind the arena. And I went walking through, and Bobby goes, hey, man, give me a hand. And I'm like, oh, man, I can't. He goes, oh, all right, don't worry about it. I just need a hand carrying Ace's guitars to, yeah, man, I think I can do that. One friend to another,
How cool is that?
Yeah, fucking, it was awesome, man.
Was that night 1 or 2? Do you remember?
That was night 1. It was night 1 because I worked night 2. I went to the first one.
What a show.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
What a special, in my life, what an amazingly special time.
Yeah, it was killer. It was killer.
What else? What other shows in the arena? Did you tour with the band that actually came and played the arena?
I never played the arena. We played.
How about that?
I played Consol, but I've never played at the arena. I've always played Starlight.
Okay. Some of your best memories from the Stanley Theater.
Now, see, that's weird because I still work there. So
at the Bennett,
I'd never been to the Stanley. I was never there.
You were never in the Stanley, even for a show?
Never went to a show. My dad did.
You're not that much younger than me. I went to plenty of shows at Stanley Theater.
See, but I didn't. I really wasn't a concert guy. You know what I mean? That was my thing. Now, my dad went and saw. There's a live Manfred Mann show.
Manfred Mann.
Yeah, and my dad yells something like, "That's me!" all the time. I did that. That's me. It's
that's cool.
It's he's like, "Woo!" or whatever. It's like, that's me. And so I always laughed because they knew it was being. But yeah, I worked down there, and I've seen Bowie down there, and I've seen.
Benedum is so grandiose.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I saw Alice in Chains down there.
But the Stanley was gritty and So the only 2 Stanley shows I have, you'll laugh, was I can almost remember the date. I think it was March 5th of '84. I saw the Kiss Lick It Up tour there.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Vinny and Paul got into a fight, I think, either on stage or off stage or some madness. But it was like seeing the Kiss, because the stage wasn't that big, seeing this Kiss sign from prior tours had to sit on the floor as opposed to being elevated because there was no room.
Yeah. Now it's the second largest stage in the country.
It's crazy, but it was just Eric Carr, and like it was just and it was great, and it was loud, and I was up close. It was great. And then the next night, I was dating this girl who I had to take her, and her younger sister was probably 13, and we had to go see the very next night. We had to see the Thompson Twins.
I saw the Thompson Twins. And
talk about a letdown. From
I saw
one
Thompson
night
Twins
to
and
the next.
OMD. I saw Motley Crue first, and then I saw the Thompson Twins and OMD, man.
Oh,
and what's funny that you say that, because I went with my buddies. It's like, go see Motley Crue. All right, cool, man. Let's go. Hey, man, I got these Thompson Twins tickets.
Twickets.
And I'm like, what? Hey, dude, you want to go? I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's go.
Right.
And they were awesome. Hold me now.
Oh my God! Yeah, that was yeah. So I respected the theatrics of it all, but I got the strange feeling that it was being piped in, and there was a lot of disingenuous music. I just felt that.
Yeah,
for what it was worth. But okay, and the other one was the graffiti.
I played graffiti all the time.
I know you played graffiti.
Yeah.
What besides?
I saw Kid Rock there.
Really?
I saw Kid Rock, like, maybe just when the ball was hitting, or before it was hitting. You know, it's a, my name is Kid. You know, it was,
powerful,
dude, it was,
huh?
Oh, dude, it was fucking awesome in that little room. And I played with.
What a great venue that for Pittsburgh.
It was fucking
It was a
killer.
magical venue, and they've never replaced it. I don't think.
Did Black Label there.
Wait, you did Black Label at the graffiti.
At graffiti, I played there with Sonic Youth and a little band called Social Distortion. Now, here's what's fucked up. I was supposed to play. That was our consolation. They put us on with a different band, so we got Social Distortion and Sonic Youth, and and it was really cool because I got to meet rock stars.
Right on.
And they were so cool, man. And then I saw Sonic Youth's last show ever in Santiago, Chile, and I was talking to Kim and those guys about, hey, man, when I was a kid, and we were all laughing about it, and Steve Shelley and all those guys, and they were really nice people, and they were really nice back then. But we had to play with those guys because I don't even know where the hell they came from, but some little band called Nirvana, somebody. We were supposed to open for them, but they decided to fucking hit it big, and
supposedly,
and we didn't fucking get to play with them. But what was funny is I was in the Experience Hendrix Museum in Seattle, and they have other bands from Seattle stuff there. They have Soundgarden stuff. And then they had Kurt Cobain's private itinerary, and it was his handwritten. What shows were where, and there was Pittsburgh on there, and it brought a little tear to my eye. I smiled. I said, I was supposed to play that show, and they hit big, and they brought somebody big. It was right when Nevermind hit, and it was just like, man.
Was there any note on there as a reminder to him to maybe tune his guitar? I'm guessing not.
He's left-handed. Kind of a break. And there's I told the Hard Rock story of me and Zach getting drunk, but there's a picture of me with Cobain's his sunglasses and his left-handed Jaguar, and I'm sitting there and I've got his glasses on and I've got the Jaguar and I'm playing it left-handed, and it's just, but it was like that night that Zach and I got hammered at the Hard Rock, and it's so that I actually have that picture somewhere. I've got the big white round sunglasses that he had, man. I got them on.
That's
and
crazy.
I've met all those cats. I've met
crazy.
Grohl, and I've met Chris Novoselic, and they were all great guys, man.
So Chris, he kind of like just shunned the spotlight since.
Yeah,
but obviously,
Grohl. You can see
Grohl
what brains in that band were. Dave's
all
all
drummer
over
there, and now it's crazy how
he's a multi-talented musician. He's a singer.
He absolutely is. He transcended what that band was. I mean, it was a launching pad for him, but he just transcended it, right?
Yep. Yeah. And he's a fantastic guy, man. He's a really, really good cat.
The graffiti was cool. I saw Robin Trower there.
Yeah.
Watching him play Bridge of Sighs like 4 feet from me was insane. I had a big band that I loved, and one of my good friends really loved this band too immensely, was King's X.
I think I saw King's X down there.
And what an absolutely what an absolute travesty, because the musicianship, in my opinion, the musicianship and the vocal quality and the whole production, everything between Ty Tabor, Jerry, the drummer, and I mean, Doug Pinnick. I mean, what amazing talent, but it just goes to show, it's hit or miss, right? I mean, but the musical, if you listen to the records, that should have been hit music, but it just.
Never know.
They were detuning before anybody.
Yeah, never know.
But they were an impressive actor. I saw the Rippingtons, that jazz band I love, with Russ Freeman there, 96, whatever, in the graffiti, and the acoustics were amazing, but just the power. I think if you were a powerful band, regardless of the genre, and you played graffiti, it translated to the audience based upon how that place was set up. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I do. I do agree with that. And, and it was a nice, intimate place. There really wasn't a bad seat,
right?
Because you're right there.
Yeah, and the bars were close by. You could get to the bar quickly.
Yeah, the bar was inside at the back of the room. It was a shallow room, but there was an upper deck, and I just I was, and the bands were accessible then. They'd come out and they'd talk, or they'd
When you were with Black Label and all the acts you've been, you would guys come to Pittsburgh. Was there ever a time that after a show, you and maybe a couple of bandmates you guys went out on a town? Did you ever go to like the Knicks Fat City? Did you bring like the talent, the band, and did you guys go out in Pittsburgh and party at spots? Do you remember that? Because I think a lot of acts would come to town and they end up at Knicks Fat City late in the night.
Yeah, there's a lot. That was. I can't think of what. I know when the wrestlers came to town, we'd go to the Edison. We'd get on a strip club.
The Edison.
But we did, man. I just remember me and the Undertaker down there.
The Undertaker.
Yeah, oh my God, we had a great time. For rock bands, I don't think I've ever. I took somebody out to the Mousetrap one time, but I can't think of who it was.
The Mousetrap.
Yeah, because it was outside.
Was that Babington?
Yeah, in Babington, man. We went to the Mousetrap and just shit like that.
I've seen some good music there.
Brantley, one of the guys on Brantley Gilbert's crew, he went out to the Mousetrap with me a couple weeks ago, but he was just a crew guy. But yeah, man. I mean, but there's been other cities like where we'll go out. And
Is it hard for an artist to go?
Sometimes it depends.
Because you've told me, depending on how crazy the show was that you were working, and whether those fans were connected with you or not, you would want to go out baseball, which is rare for you to wear a baseball cap. But you told me that you would go out with a member of the band, and you guys would dress down, hide the ponytail, or hide the hair in the back.
Baseball hat.
Yeah,
Mustaine actually had all his hair up under a hat one time, and this guy comes up and he goes, "Hey mate, I know you're the Megadeth crew guy. He goes, any chance of Mustaine showing up tonight?" And I'm
That's hysterical.
I don't think he's gonna make. He's
standing right next to him.
Next to his hair in a hat.
God!
It was in Ireland. It was in Dublin, Ireland. That's like where the dude had the Boogie Street shirt.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just going out incognito, and it's not to put on any airs. It's just so because you want to be able to go and have a conversation.
Yeah, and if there's another band there, you don't want to take away from them. You know what I mean?
Okay, I get that.
Yeah, that's how I always feel.
Okay.
I don't want to be a distraction.
All right, so talk about the Palace Theater. What do you remember about the Palace Theater?
I played there a few times.
If you forget one, I'm going to be very pissed off at you.
We saw Paul Stanley.
There we go. I thought you were.
But,
so Fred and I bonded on a lot of amazing things in my life. But on December 1st of 06, a year and a half after us working with Paul, we had the opportunity to go. That was our first real introduction, right? I mean, it was
with Paul.
Yeah,
with Paul,
and that was a special night for me, being a huge fan. And Fred took it all in stride. And do you remember how like shell shocked I was? And Fran came down and got us, and hey, you guys, remember there was a large African American guy. He was very intimidating. He was built like a brick shithouse. And I'm sitting there waiting for the show to start, and the guy comes down and he goes, "Is your name Eric?" And I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Are you with a guy named Fred or Frederick?" I go, "Yeah." He's like, "Right there. You two come with me." And I'm like horrified. You're like, "You're fine." I had no idea. And
You're like stuck in the back door.
And then I walked in, and we walked into the room, and of course I couldn't get my words out. You just slapped me on the back. And you're like, so,
he like
do you
meets
remember
Paul
that?
Stanley, his
Do you
hero,
remember
Paul
that?
Stanley, and he can't talk.
I couldn't talk. I admit
This
it.
is my buddy Eric. I like tacos and burritos.
Oh my God, that was so good though.
Oh man,
That's
we had
a
a
good
great
night,
time,
man. Yeah, that's
it
a
was a
lot,
good
dude. It was 13 years ago.
I know, man. Time
It rained like a sieve.
it was.
We went in the back
I remember
door.
he came out in his Dick Punch shirt on.
Yes, we had a novelty clothing company for a short period of time called Dick Punch Clothing, and it was a T-shirt thing. And we gave him a bunch of stuff, and he comes out at the end to walk out like
He's got the shirt on.
We took his picture, and then he looks at Fred and I goes, "Hey, Eric, Fred, I'll see y'all in Chicago." And he's waving as he's walking away, and we're like, dude, how did this happen? This is insanity, right? But it's the best Kiss show I ever saw.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was killer.
I will say the best Kiss show I ever saw. It wasn't Kiss, but it was amazing.
It
But
was a great night. The
Palace
picture
Theater
right there.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's exactly right. We've been reminiscing a lot tonight, but too, you and I have such a rich history that needs to be put and recorded in, and just a crazy. I remember I was on air judging the Froggy Idol, and after I left, I left, or after I was done judging, I left to pick up my kids. And right after I left, the Van Zants walked in.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember that?
Because I had entertained. It was
you're
awesome.
calling me and going, you left a little early because now they're down in Boogie Street's office and we're taking photos. And then, if you remember correctly, we gave them some free guitars
And some shirts.
and then
Gave them some free guitars.
And you did 2 acoustics, and they both jumped on a flight, flew to
Las Vegas.
the CMA, and later that evening live. He's got a flannel on, but underneath that's the Boogie Street logo.
Shirt.
He's playing live, and I'm getting my phone's blowing up. And Fred's like, see, I took care of you. I said, yeah, you aren't kidding. But that was Johnny, right? Johnny Van Zandt. Yeah, he played with a Boogie Street shirt on the CMA Awards in 07, 06.
And here's what's funny, man. It's
crazy, man.
I saw him in Europe. We played with them on a festival because you always have like a crazy lineup on a festival. And I was just... hearing the story about how dumb I was for not taking the Steve Gorman gig for Thin Lizzy, and so I'm talking to this dude about it, and Skinner's going to go on, and he comes back and he's taking a piss, and he's pissing in a garbage can, and we're sitting there.
Who's pissing in the garbage?
Van Zandt, yeah. So he's sitting there, he's got to go, and so I was here. He goes, "There a restaurant?" He's here, piss in this garbage can. So he pissed in my garbage can because that's what you do backstage, fucking. And he goes, "Hey man, we met." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, we did that Boogie Street thing." And Peg goes, "Oh, but you gave me the guitar."
Remembered?
Oh yeah, he remembered.
He
was
remembered.
Great. Oh hell yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
And he was awesome. And he's standing there pissing. It's amazing the conversations you have when you're
over
pissing.
urine.
Yeah, pissing. And it was way cool, that he remembered that, and when we gave him the guitar, and then he wore the shirt on.
That was crazy.
I
mean, the whole thing. He had actually shown up later on tour, other spots where he wearing the same thing again. So, just really good people.
We did a lot of fun stuff, dude. I remember watching a Stone Sour video, and Corey Taylor's playing that White Lightning. We gave him a White Lightning. There it is.
And then a couple of weeks later, we gave him a Zebra Wood too. That same body shape. He played that as well.
Playing our Boogie Street guitars.
But you always seem to. I mean, that was the great thing about what you did was. You never took liberties. We always talked about the decision, but you were like, look, this guy, like Jason with the Boogie Bolt, that propelled sales like you couldn't believe. It was a brilliant idea, and basically we created this guitar that was
Abalone Lightning Bolts.
Yeah. So, and for those who follow Boogie Street, for our group out there, we had the opportunity to make an import version of these very high-end guitars that we had made in custom shop. And we called them the Boogie Bolt. We made an import version, meaning we ordered them overseas with high quality. And Fred's like, you know what? We got to do some of these bolts because they got to punch. But Eric, don't duplicate what you did on the USA. Protect the collectors. That's very important advice you gave me. I mean, I remember you saying, look, there are people that spent, $10,000 on guitars. You need to protect their investment. You can't go overseas and duplicate something identical.
Yep.
Well, because it won't be the same quality, but visually.
Yeah. And that's
said,
something
hey,
I was always
you were
on.
up. You're very protective of our high end clients, and you said, why not make the bolts in abalone? We did that. Huge success. Couple hundred we ordered. But you said to me early on, you were out with Shinedown. You called me from Chicago, a little tipsy, I might add. Hey, man, would you be willing to overnight a boogie bolt to Jason? Because he loves Diamond. He'll play that. And as soon as we did that and the photos hit the web, they hit Guitar World online. Yeah. They hit all the metal sites.
Yeah.
And
even the Southern Cross.
Yeah, man. Jason's right over there.
Yeah,
Scotty and up
Jason's there with the boogie bolt. Scott's got the Southern Cross.
You missed that show. You were trying to get there. You were on tour and you had like a 4-day break. You tried to get to Chicago. You couldn't make it happen.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah, I remember that day. That was good stuff. But we always were. We had to. I mean, through you, we had the stones to approach artists and just like say, hey, look. Can we give you something as a gift? No strings attached, but if you love it and you dig it, it'd help us if you played it. And to a man, they all did it.
And they all played it, man.
And Scott played that for tours, multiple tours. He was a great guy, man.
Paul played his stuff. Paul Stanley played those. What we gave him. Jason loved his stuff. I figure Corey Taylor played the White Lightning.
Yeah, the stuff on Corey Taylor was amazing too, and
that was a total surprise to me. I'm like, well, check it out.
And what's funny too is we gave Zach a boogie bolt early on, and I don't know.
He still has it.
I know, and the coolest thing ever was for me because I had not met Zach yet, and legend in my eyes naturally, and you guys were in. I want to say. I don't even think you were working with them. You flew out there, but you're in some Minnesota or something, and you got on the bus, and Zach's like, hey, I got to call I got to call Boogie Man to get that thing. Fred goes, doing it right now. And you had him call me, and I talked to Zach a while, and he was thinking, he seemed relatively sober at the time, and he was very appreciative, and he loved it. He did tell me that it probably won't see a lot of stage time because of contractual issues, but know that it's a huge part of my collection. And subsequently, when people would come to his house and do specials, plenty of them. There was that guitar was always featured.
It's always in there. Yep.
Yeah, and that always meant a lot. Like that's a little bit of our legacy is out there. You know.
Absolutely.
And you, Nick, and Zach, Steve Bennett, we did 13 boogie bolts, and I gave four of them away to the most influential people in my life at that time, which was you, Nick, Zach, because he helped propel my brand, and Steve Bennett. And that was always, it meant a lot to me because I know how much, especially with you knowing him and having a relationship with Dimebag, was just, and I know what you went through personally after all that tragedy. So we had a good crew. We had a good crew of people there. Boogie Street had that run of just surrounding ourselves with great, great people. And I know heavy metal, Fred, takes a lot of knocks, man. We talked about that last podcast. It doesn't need to, because I think it's just an anomaly. Not an anomaly. I think it's disingenuous to the genre of music, because the quality of people from everyone I've ever met, Chad Lee, Chad Dyer, Tim Boland, everybody associated with Black Label and the band, Scott Ian, his whole staff, the members of Anthrax, all of those bands really, they embraced what we did, and they were so kind, which is a shame that metal got always that bad rap of being dangerous or I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying
mean-spirited or whatever. It's so silly, right? I mean, it's so silly.
Yep.
Because some of and just the generosity and the. Do you remember all the money we did for charity after a Dimebag was killed?
Yeah.
I mean, just and we didn't do it. We offered to give the money away, but ultimately it was the customers and the fans of that band that did that.
Yep.
And it's amazing. And I think, did it ever puzzle you, like why metal got the rap that it did?
Yeah, metal gets bad rap, just like me walking down the street. I was all terrifying, and I'm not terrifying. When you fall in a pit at a metal show, they help you up instead of stomping you. Metal people are those kind of people.
I don't know if it really happens or not, but he tells me it does. This is mosh pits look horrifying to me.
But they're real people. They're genuine people. They're not poser people. They're the people that you see every day, and you look at them and go, that's a real person.
Yeah, most people have good hearts, wouldn't you agree?
They have good hearts, yeah.
Because I mean, that was always your line too. Look beyond.
Yeah.
Look beyond, and you'll find the person.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is good, buddy.
Yeah, we had a good show.
We did a rock and roll show for a change. We
love it.
really dived into the music end of it.
We actually did. Actually, you got a story out of me. You got 2 stories out of me that I don't want to tell.
I know. How about that?
There you
That's
go.
good.
So I'm off the tour.
Yeah.
I'll do it when I come back. We'll have other stories, but that's it for me.
I have a
tonight.
couple other people in our circle, or my circle anyways, that are dying to do a guest spot with you. Sarah Ann Duffy wanted to be here tonight in the worst way. She wanted
I want her
round,
back.
She wanted round 2 with you in the worst way. But I promised her we would do that again when you come back, because your series will be a consistent series on this show. This is show 5 already.
Yep.
And you remain the highest viewed show to this point. So Freddie continues to draw.
It's the hair.
But
Pantene.
on air too, I want to say that you have always been the biggest supporter of me in my friendship circle. And I know I came to you with this idea of podcasting, and Fred actually said, do it, man, or run with it. Let's have some fun with it. I'll help you any way I can, and it's going to work, Eric. I have my doubts. I will tell you, buddy, your show, this episode, your 5th episode here is actually show 47. And
I know.
We're in less than 7 months. So
That's awesome.
we're on our way.
Well, you got 2 tomorrow.
I got 2 tomorrow, another one on Sunday. We're moving along here.
And we're getting, you're getting people on here that
amazing people, both,
awesome.
and we're embracing the Pittsburgh community in southwestern PA. That's the essence of our show. But obviously, we're using our musical connections, and we want people of interest, people that have accomplishments, people that are notable. And it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing, but I think we've been blessed by people that want to be part of this. And again, I thank you on record here for helping me get the courage to do this, because it's been one of the most. I had the same feeling, Fred, that I had when we started Boogie Street. Like I felt so compelled. I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I was sharing with my wife the other night. This is the next thing, and I feel so good about it.
Yeah, you should, because it's very successful.
Thank you, buddy.
And I think you're doing a great job, and,
I appreciate
and people love it. And
do you realize he only drank 2 beers tonight?
I don't drink anymore.
I
don't drink beer.
So we're gonna see you in January, right?
See me in January.
Okay.
We got the NAMM show in January. So
when is the NAMM show?
I don't know. I didn't even look. I got the phone call and said, "Hey, you coming out?"
You're hoodwinked every year in that. I mean, so before we split, how do you handle that? Like, 'cause there's multiple vendors want you to come out. You're pretty loyal. You're still.
I do Tone Pros. I do those guys. I'm loyal to to those guys that got me in. Dwight Devereaux, Brian Devereaux, and Sharon.
And you're consistent, because that was always the type of bridge that we put on our guitars that Fred not only endorsed, but he believed in wholeheartedly.
I did, and I still do. I hawk that bridge.
There's a lot of bad hardware manufacturers out there, because they've kind of sent it all overseas now, and that's not a knock on any person. It's just the quality control tends to suffer a little bit overseas with guitar manufacturers, anyways. Yeah,
and we always insisted on having them on there, and I still have them on all mine today.
So now's the end of January, I'm guessing.
End of January, and then I don't know what I'm going to do.
All right. Well, then we probably need to get with you middle of January before NAMM.
Yep.
Before you set off for another tour.
Ain't gonna happen. I'm done. Officially retired.
He's done. All right. All right, friends. This is Fred Kowalo. We're closing down episode 5 of the Kowalo Chronicles on the Eric McKenna Project. Love you, brother. I appreciate everything you've done for me and what you've done for the show. And I'm looking forward to hearing a little more. I have some more questions for you in January. Not
Save
me, but our following does.
Keep those cards and letters coming.
And be safe out there, right?
Fuck no, never.
Don't take any wooden nickels. Don't take any chances. We'll see y'all.
See ya. Take care.
God bless.
Bye-bye. All right, get this camera off and I'll tell you this.